All right, good afternoon, guys. So today I'm going to show you one of the assignments I'm going to go through on AWS Cloud Quest. So today we're going to do secrets management. This is available to you as well if you want some more hands-on practicing in AWS in the cloud. They have a free version. Currently, I'm on the paid version, which gives you more access to more missions to do. So today we're going to do the secrets management one. So they're going to start off just by providing us the situation that we're going to go through. So nice to meet you. I'm the development lead for a HR organization. Thanks for dropping by. How can I help? I just came from a meeting with our new security compliance officer. Based on his compliance assessment, our applications do not meet security requirements. What's the problem? Can you tell me more? Currently, our applications use hard-coded passwords to access AWS resources, such as Amazon RDS. We know it's not a good practice, but we don't know where we can store and manage these passwords. All right. So we're going to recommend AWS Secrets Manager, where you're able to store and protect secrets needed to access your applications, services, and other resources. Users and apps can retrieve secrets programmatically, removing the need to hard code sensitive information in plain text. Definitely don't want plain text. Alright, she's saying, however, our apps and databases are deployed in a VPC. How can Secrets Manager access resources in a VPC without going through the internet? So you can establish a private connection between your VPC and the Secrets Manager by creating an interface VPC endpoint. Alright, so she also wants to update database credentials every 30 days. We say we can help with that. Secrets Manager offers built-in integrations for MySQL, PostgreSQL, Amazon Aurora. So there's different features that Secrets Manager offers as well. So we can rotate credentials for these databases automatically. All right, so she likes it, so we're gonna go and get started. So here's the objectives down here. Configure the Secrets Manager to store a new secret. Create interface VPC endpoint for Secrets Manager. And configure Secrets Manager to rotate a secret automatically. All right, I'm going to accept this mission. All right. All right, so here's going to be a breakdown of secrets management and just a visual representation of what we're going to do here. So this solution uses AWS Secrets Manager to store and rotate Amazon RDS credentials. An application retrieves secrets programmatically and uses automated secret rotation to meet compliance requirements and ensure applications run without interruption. All right. Secrets Manager helps you store and protect secret keys needed to access your apps, services, and IT resources. Here's the VPC endpoint we're speaking of earlier. It enables connections between a VPC and supported services. You do not need an internet gateway, NAT device, or VPN, or AWS Direct. So VPC endpoint enables connections between a VPC and supported services. You can create it to establish a private connection between your VPC and Secrets Manager. So that's very essential, as I stated earlier, so you don't need these other devices to set up a connection for something outside of your VPC for a private connection. So all traffic through this connection stays on the AWS network and does not traverse the internet. So no one can capture your packets, no one can intercept anything externally. An application deployed in AWS Lambda function retrieves Amazon RDS credentials from Secrets Manager. All right. So basically, we have the Secrets Manager here. Here is the tunnel that's going to be used to connect the two. What they're saying is you have a Lambda function that's going to be triggered. I'm assuming we're going to create a Lambda function inside once we get into the actual console. We're going to create a Lambda function to be able to retrieve the the RDS credentials from Secrets Manager. So let's say, for example, you want to access RDS. A Lambda function would be able to be triggered and go to the VPC endpoint, get it from Secrets Manager, and come back in, and you'll be able to access the private subnet. Using the retrieved credentials, the application can access and query data from the Amazon RDS database. And then rotation is a process of periodically updating a secret. When you rotate a secret, you update the credentials in both the secret and the database or service. And if I'm going too fast, guys, you can slow down or you can pause it whenever these bubbles pop up. So in Secrets Manager, you can set up automatic rotation for your secrets. So that's very essential. You want to constantly rotate, whether it's your secret keys. So you don't want anything to be compromised in any way, which in AWS is very, very low chance your Secrets Manager is going to be compromised in the first place. But you want to make sure your keys are getting rotated. To rotate a secret, Secrets Manager calls a Lambda function to initiate rotation, and you can rotate secrets on a schedule or on demand. Secrets Manager offers built-in integrations for MySQL, PostSQL, Amazon Aurora, RDS. So Secrets Manager can rotate credentials for these databases natively. This application can access the Amazon RDS by using the retrieved rotated credentials. With rotated credentials, the application can query and receive query results from the RDS database. All right. So like I said, the client wants to avoid hard-coded passwords. We can provide them AWS Secrets Manager to store and periodically rotate Amazon RDS credentials used by the application. All right, so another feature in here as well, you can press on one of these videos. It'll give you an in-depth look or in-depth description via a video on each of these features, but we're going to go ahead and get started. Here's another description on our lab goals, list of things we're going to go over. But we'll get that also once we're inside the actual lab. So start the lab up. I'll give it a few minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this, and when I come back, should be able to start. Alright guys, so our AWS console environment is now set up, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Alright, so we have one zip file we're going to use for this environment, but here's some instructions. We're going to get started. Alright. First thing we're going to go is the service RDS. Anyone's not familiar with RDS, it's a rational database service. So you can store information in here, and the information in here is usually related in some form or fashion. Alright, so RDS is a powerful collection of managed services you can use to set up, operate, and scale databases in the cloud. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is go to databases. This is within RDS. So we already have a resource in here that's been created for us. Alright. Here's some of the common databases here. So what we're going to do is click the Connectivity and Security tab. So we're already in here. Here's the VPC that the resource is in, Virtual Private Cloud. So we're going to go ahead and click the Security group. Let that load. A database instance, the basic building block of Amazon RDS. It's an isolated database environment running in the cloud. A VPS security group controls access to the Amazon RDS database instance inside of VPC. Alright. Alright, so basically this is the firewall for the database. So we're going to go ahead and create the rules, it looks like, for people being able to access it. So here's security group. So we have the inbound rules. So right now we just have people being able to enter the database using port 3306, using protocol TCP, which is a connection oriented protocol. We're going to go ahead and edit these inbound rules. By default, network access is disabled for a database instance. You can specify rules and script that allow access from an IP range. Okay. So by default, it's usually disabled by default. All right, so we're going to go ahead and this is already created. We already have that in here. I'm probably going to create a new one. Actually, we're not. So they're just going to have us review what we currently have already. All right, so now I want to go to the secrets manager. Right. As we said earlier, secrets manager basically just stores and rotates your secrets, helps you protect them. So we're going to store a new secret. And what we're going to store is credentials for Amazon RDS database. So that's already clicked. Now we're going to do live user is the username we're going to use. And lab1234 is the password. It's lowercase. All right, so here's the credentials. Encryption key. I'm gonna keep that. And then resource database. This is the key they're going to provide to us using Amazon KMS, which is key management system. All right, so next. All right, so here's the secret name. So it's gonna be a descriptive name that helps you find your secret later. That's what we're saving it as. And description is probably, or they're not gonna have us do a description, but I'll keep that blank as well. You're also able to replicate your secrets in multiple AWS regions. Scroll down, click next, which I'll do here. So they did mention automatic rotation, so we'll probably do this for sure and set a time period. Oh, actually, they're not. It's interesting. So we talked about rotating the secret, but they're not going to have that for this one, I guess. So I'll scroll down. Let me see here, sample code. I didn't miss a step. Okay, so we're skipping the to configure rotational. Okay, here's the sample code. Alright, Secrets Manager provides code samples to call Secrets Manager APIs that will retrieve a secret programmatically. Alright, so everything's set up for us. They have us code already. So when we need a secret from this resource, from Secrets Manager, this code will call it via API. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and store this secret key. So now we successfully stored the secret to the database credentials here. All right. Now we're gonna refresh and it should show. All right, now we're in business. We're in business. All right, so next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the VPC console. So I'll use this tab here. I don't want too many tabs open. We're gonna go to the VPC. And yeah, so like I said, we have this created here. We have VPC. I'm gonna have to go to endpoints, and then we're gonna create an endpoint. So endpoints is right here. This one already created for us. Looks like it's an interface. 2 network interfaces, 2 subnets. Okay. Okay. All right, so we're gonna create an endpoint. So a VPC endpoint enables connections between a VPC and supported services, okay, without requiring that you use an internet gateway. So this is what we were speaking of earlier for that secure connection between a VPC and a resource. So we can use this in between Secrets Manager when we're calling for credentials via API and a resource within our VPC. We saw a diagram earlier. All right, so to create the endpoint, we're going to type secret manager VPC endpoint. I wish they had it right here so I can copy and paste it, but it's okay. So secret mgr underscore VPC underscore endpoint. Okay, then we'll choose that. AWS services, already clicked for us. All right. So next, look up a Lambda service. Should be this right here. And then probably lab VPC we're gonna choose. Okay. All right, and we're gonna choose lab VPC. So I think that the VPC is already created for us. We don't have to create that since we're choosing it right now. And then for the subnet, we're gonna choose, when you create an interface VPC endpoint, you need to choose the VPC from which you will access the AWS service. Okay. We're gonna choose the first one, US East 1A. And subnet, looks like we're gonna choose public subnet 1. All right. All right, so we're doing good so far. Second one, I think it's probably public subnet 2. It is. Now we're gonna scroll down. We're gonna use IPv4 addresses. Security group for the interface VPC must allow communication. Okay. All right, so let me just scroll back up so we're make sure we're on the same page. So we're creating an endpoint, the VPC endpoint, which creates that tunnel between your resources. So the VPC is going to be inside as this. These are the subnets, so it gets more specific and it kind of niches down. And then the security group we're going to use to access this, to go inside and outside of the VPC is this last one, default. Or it's going to be right here. All right. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and create it. Everything looks good. No tags for it. We're going to create the endpoint. All right, great. So now we have a VPC endpoint for Secrets Manager. All right. So now we're going to go to AWS Lambda. Remember, we're going to go ahead and call this resource or call this function so we can trigger the secret key to be provided. So we're going to go to Lambda. And anyone who doesn't know what Lambda is, it's a resource that is serverless, and you're able to create code and basically execute commands out of here without it's infrastructure as a code service. So go ahead and follow along here. It's a compute service that you can use to run code without provisioning or managing servers. So we can go to the application function. So that is in the functions tab, application function. It uses Python. And then, all right, so let's go here. So here's the code they already have in here for us. If I go back one more time just to show what we did there. So we have functions tab here. These are already created for us. So there's an application function. And then we have the code here. And then we have some Python code here. So the secret name is probably, it's going to be the resource we already created. So resource db underscore credentials. I have to open this first. It's already open. All right, so I'm going to copy this. Put that into this code. This is the region name, US East 1. All right, so next they want us to review the code block on lines 38 to 71. That's a lot of code. I didn't realize it went this long, but all right, 38. So it wants to review it. Secret value response. Except, so you're gonna try this, except when there's a client error, or this, or this. That's what these functions mean. So you're gonna get this, unless you get an error, unless it's a response error. That's what Aleph means. Or else, and it's gonna do this. So I would say if you're working in the cloud, it's probably beneficial to you a little bit to get the basics of Python, so you can read this a little better. But here's another function for Lambda handler. Retrieve RDS details. So this is basically just describing what this function is going to do, what this Python code is built to do. And these are parts of the code as well. Whenever you see a pound sign, you can just add a comment before or after code. So this is not part of the code, but you can put it in here so you can describe what's going on. It decrypts secret using the associated KMS key. Depending on whether the secret is a string or binary, one of these fields will be populated. So it's good that they put this in here so it can provide us additional information on the code that we're using. All right, so we're gonna scroll down. Okay. All right, so the code looks good. What we're gonna do is deploy this. Basically, deploy means just we're saving it. We're just saving this code. It's basically an update. So whenever you make a change to your code, you want to press deploy at all times afterwards. If you don't press deploy, and you try to test it or something, it's not gonna run properly with the code that you put in there. All right, so now we're gonna do a test event. It's gonna pop up. We're going to test the function locally. So we'll do test event. I do test event 1. Hello world, scroll. Okay. Everything looks good for the test events. We're going to go and save this. And then now we're going to run it. Just make sure. All right, now we're going to run it. Let it run for a few seconds. While that's loading, we can kind of move ahead a little bit. It's going to give us the response we should get. All right, so the response we got, password undefined. Okay, so we actually got a failure. So we did something wrong. So I think what we didn't do is put the password in here. Which I don't think they told us to do that in the previous steps. Go back and see. Paste a secret name. It says review. Scroll. Review. Yes, I mean, let me see here. It says runtime error, exit without providing a reason. I think it's because it says password undefined. Yeah, I think that's the reason why. Because in here it says it's going to provide us a password right here. All right, so I don't think that we have to provide a password because it should get the password from the RDS database. Runtime exit error message. Exit without providing a reason. Secrets manager, I put the password in here. So basically, I think they're saying they haven't found the credentials. That's the issue here. They've been telling we want Lambda, went to RDS or secrets. Man. I'm gonna do it is pause this and then resolve what's going on, and then I'll be right back with you guys. All right, guys, we're back. I found the problem. So we're succeeded. I ran a new test event, but basically the credentials were wrong in Secrets Manager. So if you go to secret value and you open this up, this said undefined here. Sometimes when you copy straight from this text and put it inside of the console, it says undefined. I just didn't realize it. But okay, so I put the new password in, saved it, ran the event again, and now it succeeded. So all right, we're back in business. All right, so we're halfway through this module, almost done, guys. So now we're gonna go to Secrets Manager again, which we're already in. Now we're gonna rotate this secret. So we're gonna edit this rotation. Right now it says disabled, as you can see. Like I said, you want to have these rotated because you don't want to keep using the same key over and over again. It's like using the same password over and over again. You don't want to do that. So automatic rotation, I'm assuming. Yes. Every 30 days. Remember that's what the client required, every 30 days. All right. Keep it as default. Then we're gonna rotation hyphen lambda. Storage name always starts with the prefix. Secrets manager, and it can include alphanumeric. Okay. All right. So this is what is single user. Okay. All right. So this is the rotation function. Secrets manager adds the prefix to your function name. Function is required. Okay. So we'll go ahead and save this. Rotation being configured. Take up to 2 minutes. So what I'm going to do is pause this, and we'll come back and review and make sure it's enabled. All right, so our database credentials are now set up. It says so. All right, yes. All right, so rotation is now set up and enabled. All right, so we're good here. Now I'm going to click this last lambda rotation function we set up earlier. Almost done, guys. All right, so here's the function. Scroll down to the bottom. So they're gonna have us upload or the zip file. So we're gonna save this, rotate key zip. So we're gonna upload the zip file. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and save it. So this zip file is used for the code for the lambda function. Okay, so it's gonna make sure that the VPC endpoint is connected to the lambda function with secrets manager. Okay. All right, so we're good here. Update the functions. Okay. So this took us. Okay. Keep in mind, this is separate from the actual. Oh, no, it's actually the same. Oh, it's different functions, but they're both in Lambda. All right, so now scroll down to the bottom. I'm gonna add a layer. AWS Lambda layers provide a convenient way to package libraries and other dependencies that you can use with your Lambda functions. Layers promote code sharing and separation of responsibility so you can iterate faster on writing business logic. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and add a layer here. All right, choose custom layer. Add this over here. And version 2. I don't have that available, looks like. Let me see. All right, so any version will work, which is good. All right, so a layer is zip file, archive that contain additional code or data. Okay, so this is an additional code or data. This is additional to what we already have to the function. All right, so we've done this. We're going to go ahead and add it. Let's give it a second. Okay. So now they're gonna have us just review the layer that we just created. So that will be right here. So that's what we just created. So we're good to go. it's adding additional code to what we already have. Let me just review this. Actually, not gonna let me review the code. It looks like shit in that first place, but it's okay. All right. Go back to secrets manager. Rotate secret immediately. Okay, so they're gonna have us rotate it right now, and then after that, it'll be every 30 days. All right. So let me schedule for rotation. So then we're just gonna go to the overview tab and retrieve the secret value. All right. So, okay, great. So now we have a new password set up for us. Remember last time I said lab1234? So by us changing the key, it also changed the password for the value. Username stays the same. Now we have a new value. We're still accessing everything through port 3306. They say the same thing here. All right, so now we're gonna go back to AWS Lambda. They're gonna have us go to functions and go to application function. All right, so now they're gonna have us test this RDS connection with the new credentials. See if it works. Remember last time, okay, they don't have the information here, but last time it said succeeded. I'm gonna go ahead and test this. And we're succeeded again. And then here's the new credentials right here. All right, so we're looking good so far. On the execution results tab, review succeeded. Function log review to ensure the retrieved database password was updated. All right, so we're good to go. Everything looks good. So pretty much these last steps, we're gonna review the code. So since we're already 40 minutes in, we'll go ahead and briefly review it. I mean, we've reviewed it already, so we don't have to look at it again, but everything is pretty much the same besides, like I said, the password was changed. This is going to initiate the Lambda function to be able to retrieve the secret from AWS Manager. All right, so now going to have us go to CloudWatch. Go to the logs, log groups. Series man rotation Lambda. All right. And it gives a description here. You can use CloudWatch to centralize the logs from all the systems in a single highly scalable service. A log group in CloudWatch is a group of log streams that share the same retention, monitoring, and access control settings. So it's going to give you the ability to look at the logs for whatever resource you had set up. In our case, it's Secrets Manager. All right, so we're going to go ahead and click on this log stream. There I have to do the first one, looks like. Click the latest one. This is the latest one, I believe. Which is correct. It's the latest one right here on top. All right, so here's the code that we ran in Lambda. Yeah, so the thing about this, these logs take time to integrate or move over from Lambda into this service. So we only have like the most up to date ones. It should be more because we did more stuff in here. But I'll pause this again briefly so you can see the updated logs. And we only have 2 steps left. They're just gonna have us review these logs. And then we'll do a do yourself portion and we'll be completed. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause this. All right, so a lot of the logs were actually in a previous log stream. So just some of the information we see here, connection, successful connections. So looks like everything that we had was logged in a few different log events, so that's good. But all right, so we're able to move on. Basically just telling us for review. All right, great. All right, so we completed the practice section. All right, we have one section left, which is shorter, do it yourself. All right, so they want us to update the application Lambda function code to query data from Amazon RDS. All right, so we're gonna go to the application Lambda function. All right. So, all right, here's the code we have here. So they want us to query data from Amazon RDS. All right, so we have the resource database here. Update the application Lambda function code to query data. Validate the application can retrieve the query data by using the newly rotated credentials. All right, it's gonna give us hints right here. Update the function Lambda function code. Let me see here, application function, Lambda function code. Okay. This is runtime settings. Let's stick to the regular code here. All right, so this code is querying the secrets manager. They're saying to uncomment the code for the DIY section that retrieves database records with toxicologist as an occupation. Uncomment for the DIY section. I'm assuming DIY is at the bottom. Okay, here we go. For DIY uncomment below section to test retrieving data from RDS. So I'm going to uncomment that section. Okay. So, okay, here we go. So we're going to uncomment this. By uncomment, you can either right click, you can actually go to edit, comment, and toggle comment. So what we did here, remember last time I said pound sign means just a comment, so this is going to be real code now. So uncommented that. Treat that with the toxic. That's not. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this and see if it works. All right, so first I'm going to deploy this to save the code. All right, now I'll go ahead and run this, see if it works. Let me see here. All right, great. All right, so it succeeded. So this is actually probably the RDS database information we have. It is secrets manager secret name. Okay. So they're gonna validate the configuration of Lambda to secrets manager. And boom, there we go. All right, so we retrieved data from Amazon RDS by using the new rotated credentials that we had from Secrets Manager. And yeah, so basically it's just a pipeline to be able to have new credentials every 30 days to be able to retrieve the information in Amazon RDS. All right, so we're going to go ahead back to the city and give our customer the information that we completed the task. All right, so what we're going to do here is, all right, so she's appreciative. And there we go. Now we get a reward. We pick something if you want to do that. But yeah. All right, so we got some hands-on skills with Secrets Manager, hands-on skills with RDS. Also, we were in AWS Lambda for a little bit as well. Create a Lambda function. You now know how to uncomment in code. So any questions or comments you can leave below, and I will be sure to answer if anything.